This has been a moment of epic level refreshment brought to you by Critical Hit Soda, sponsors of today's episode. Go to criticalhitsoda.com or any of the links in the description to find out more and support their upcoming Kickstarter.
This is Daniel.
And this is Krebs.
This is Alton.
And I am Matai.
And you're listening to Dungeon Crawlers Radio, the greatest geek podcast out there. Alright everyone, welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers. Here we are. We have some exciting things to talk about today. We have Alton, we have Matai here. Krebs, unfortunately, is not able to be a part of today's show. He has some other things that is taking his attention. But we're ready to talk about Gen Con, something that Alton and I have attended. Matai and Krebs have not, but we're going to talk about what it is, the excitement about it, and why you should go.
Yeah, so Matt, tell me about this. What do you already know about Gen Con?
What I know is that Gen Con is this huge gaming convention. A lot of gaming manufacturers put their stuff up there. I've heard that a lot of indie publishers will try to get their games off the ground there. But it's a great place. It's like the Comic-Con, the San Diego Comic-Con of the gaming space. A lot of new games that are going to debut on Kickstarter or GameFound, or ones that are going to be released in the next season. I'm a big fan of Marvel Legendary from Upper Deck. I mean, you guys probably heard me talk about that before. And I know that at previous Gen Cons, they've done Legendary tournaments. They've said, hey, this is our new expansion for the game coming up soon. And that's also where if you win the tournament or you win their contest, you can get drawn into some of the cards that they will later release in the next expansion. So several of the cards out there have a fan's face on them, and I've been so jealous ever since I discovered that. But that's about what I know about Gen Con, and I really want to go. Can you put me in your suitcase, maybe?
Well, first off, solid foundational summary. Huge fan of that lead-in.
Yes.
Second, unfortunately, my bags are more than overpacked. This year I'm actually going out to Gen Con, as Dan mentioned, supporting Critical Hit Soda and Tracy Hickman. I'm bringing out 10 tubs of his games that we're going to be auctioning off there.
Oh, cool. Take 9 and put me in the 10th.
Okay. I don't think I can put an auction tag on you. You're just too valuable. But yeah, so
I'm
Gen
priceless.
Con... Gen
My
Con
mommy always
is...
tells me I'm priceless.
It's true, you are. So Gen Con is the largest gaming convention in the world. It's absolutely aimed towards tabletop gaming, and it's got a storied history. Yeah. Funnily enough, I've actually only ever attended as a vendor or exhibitor, so I have a very different perspective on the con than I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gen Con started in actually Lake Geneva, and originally it was hosted in the Playboy Club there. It was just a single room convention with a whole bunch of board game enthusiasts, and that was the biggest large space that they could find to be able to put people into. And very quickly, it grew. So they relocated to Indianapolis, to the main convention center there, and now it is tens of thousands of people. I don't recall the exact numbers for attendance last year, but I know, like, with Critical Hit, we're expected to get in front of thousands of people, and we are one vendor among dozens of food trucks that are out there. The hall itself is packed. It is massive. Huge releases happen there. They've got tournaments going on from open to close every single day, plus a whole bunch of off-site stuff. Like, if you're a board gamer, this is something that I think you should attend at least once in your life. Also, come with a very padded wallet, because you will find things that you want for sure.
See, this is the thing. This is the thing that I've always found amazing with Gen Con. First off, with some of these designers, you're going to be able to get games before it's even on the shelf with most retailers, because they allow it to come out early there. There's a couple times I bought a game, and it doesn't hit until like Q4 or even Q1 of the following year. And I have it, like the original Firefly board game before they rolled out the new updated one. I got that before it ever got to stores. There are other times when I've been there where, yes, the convention floor closes, but games are still going on. Like, games run all night. It's open for 4 days, and it's kind of like 24 hours. There are some game companies that they are running games all night long. I've seen some people where they don't even I wouldn't suggest this, but they don't get a hotel room, and they're just literally playing games all the time. They crash somewhere on the floor, and then they wake up again, and then they go and just go.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy, please.
Don't.
But the really cool thing...
Because, Daniel, that also means they're probably not showering. And if you've ever been to a large collection of nerds, folks, personal hygiene is a requirement, not a luxury.
Yes. But the other thing that I really think that Gen Con has done that is a smart thing is that they know their target audience. Not all of it is women. A lot of it is guys. But they have set up where there are free crafting things for the wives to go attend while the husband's on the convention floor running around. And it's kind of smart. The wives are entertained while the husband's down doing his thing.
For those wives who aren't also at the gaming tables playing lots and lots of games.
Correct. For those ones that aren't.
For those spouses or partners that are not board game oriented as much as some of the other fanatics, there are alternate activities.
But the biggest thing, this is the biggest thing that I loved, is the entire city transforms. Like, surrounding restaurants convert their menus to be themed around board games and video games and stuff like that. There was one that we went to where they transformed. There was a Sephiroth burger. There was the Pac-Man salad. Stuff like that. And not only that, instead of, it was a sports bar. It was the Colts sports bar. And instead of seeing football on the screen, instead they had video games up there, and they actually had consoles attached to these screens, and people could walk up and play video games while they waited for their food.
Did the jukebox play Pac-Man Fever?
I don't know. I don't know about that one. But the entire city transforms like that, and it's accepting, and it's not like, oh my gosh, we just got a bunch of nerds here. It's totally like, okay. The first year I went, it was a little weird because, we had that and they had a biker convention going on, so there was kind of the two.
My word.
But it was okay. You had some bikers there, you had some, people dressed up in cosplay. No one cared. Everyone was treated the same. And they have a huge convention hall, and the panels were at the convention hall and the surrounding hotels. Everything. So if you wanted to go to this panel, you went at the convention hall. There was another one at the Westin across the street, and everything was just really synergized, and they did it well, and it was amazing. And I have always enjoyed going there. And not only that, the convention floor, it's like padded carpet, so it's not like you're just pounding feet on hard cement. It's amazing.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do there.
Very
without
much
the aching feet.
Oh, don't worry. There's still plenty of walking.
Yeah.
The carpet is basically a necessity because the Indianapolis Convention Center is
massive,
huge. It's huge, and it's multiple floors.
Yeah.
Think the Salt Palace in Salt Lake, stacked 4 on top of each other, but double wide.
Yes.
That's what you're working.
It is a massive convention center.
It's huge. And the thing is from the vendor's side, one of the things that Dan was mentioning is everybody pulls out the stops for this. The quality of everything is super high. Mm-hmm. You cannot get a booth at Gen Con without some kind of existing relationship.
Yes.
You are on a waiting list forever in the hopes that somebody decides not to show up. There's a whole system behind the scenes, and I don't know exactly how it works, so if somebody at Gen Con wants to correct me on any of this, go for it. But the rumor is, I'll call it that, is basically there's a gigantic points system that says, okay, how many years have you already attended? Have you been sponsoring events? Have you been paying for ads? They're tracking your company, and based on where you land in that gigantic leaderboard determines your placement of whether you're going to be able to get a booth or a panel or anything else. And so as a result, anybody who makes it into Gen Con really pulls out the stops because they want to stay and they want to make sure that that investment is well handled. It's crazy.
Well, and the other thing that I really like about them is they also vet. They vet the press that comes in. So if you're coming in with a special pass to be able to come in and interview, they vet you. They make sure that you're legit, which, when we went as press, I was really impressed with them doing that, because they validated that, yes, every person's name was listed on our website, that we were actively doing shows, and it corresponded with what was going on. So you just weren't getting a free pass and wandering the hall. And not only that, when you go there, everyone was excited to talk to you. Everyone was excited to get in front of you and talk about their product. Not because they wanted to be like a used car salesman, but it was genuinely, they have a passion for what they've created and they want to talk to you about it.
And they're with their people.
Yeah. And where I've been at other conventions where there's people just kind of sitting behind there like, yeah, I made a game. Yeah, this is kind of what it's about. No, these guys are passionate, and they show it in every minute fiber of their body when they're talking about it.
A couple of years ago, we were getting interviews at FanX, and I came across a young guy who was marketing his game, and you're absolutely right. He was so passionate about it. He wanted me to hop in and play a couple of rounds with him, and I asked him for an interview, and he was like, "Oh, this would be terrific!" And he was just so happy to speak and talk about it. This is your opportunity to get your passion out there. Last time I found a game designer who had 10 different games. He's an indie guy, and so just as an independent publisher, he had a bunch of these games that he was selling, and he was talking about them and everything, and he's another one that was just really, really passionate. We weren't able to hook up to get an interview with him last time, but I hear what you're saying. There is something interesting, whether you're interested in the topic or not. If somebody is passionate about it, it kind of gets you excited. It kind of like, well, even if it's something I don't understand, I want to their passion comes through, and it's exciting to hear somebody who is that much into the thing. And it's even better if you also like the same thing. Then it's just, I don't know, it's a big endorphin rush. And, for me, kind of just hopping out for a second, this is one of the reasons why I do this podcast. This is something that I'm definitely passionate about, but then being able to meet and talk with all these other people that share a lot of the same hobbies. So yeah, I do look forward to someday making it to Gen Con, because I would totally nerd out.
So speaking of passion,
yes,
one of the things that sets Gen Con apart from most other conventions, there are a few that can do this to a degree. But every convention has vendors, every convention has panels, right? Gen Con, as we said in the beginning, has tournaments going on all the time. And you all know that my favorite board game is Twilight Imperium, which is a big chonkin. You're going to sit down with a whole bunch of people for many hours, and it's really intense. They have a Twilight Imperium tournament that lasts the entire weekend, and it actually takes up like a whole corner of this gigantic tournament area. It is amazing to watch so many fans be in one spot playing that game so intensely. And you've got people who are like really consistently good at this. They'll get through multiple games in a day, and then finally when you get to that final couple of rounds, like, you are watching the best play I've seen anywhere. It's absolutely gorgeous. But any popular game that you can imagine probably has a tournament running there.
Yeah.
So then here's my question to you, Matt. With what we've talked about so far, what kind of stands out to you as someone who hasn't gone before?
When I go, it's going to be, I want to hear about the new products. That's the stuff that really gets me excited. I also wouldn't mind getting some swag. I know you can get a lot of promo pieces for games.
That's not a problem.
And the promo cards that are usually Gen Con exclusives and things like that, that'd be kind of stuff that I would go for. But it would be especially if we went as dungeon crawlers and not just Matai hanging out, which I would have plenty of fun doing, but if we went as DCR, I would absolutely be so excited to talk to the people about their products, how they got there, what inspired them to come into the gaming space, where they get their game ideas from. That the people would be the draw for me.
So what do you think, Dan? Should dungeon crawlers go to Gen Con next year?
Yes. I would love to go back, but I think we need to go back. It's kind of our bread and butter. From day one, we've always talked about games, and that was something that we always heard from Tracy. You know, when we first interviewed him, he mentioned Gen Con, and I'm like, that sounds amazing. He's like, well, you need to go, and that was our goal, was to get there, and we got there, and he was not wrong. It was amazing. In fact, I believe Gen Con was where I first met you for the very first time, because you were with your wife and Tracy and Laura at their booth.
Was that where we...
Yep.
No, that can't be right. That can't be right. We have to have met at FanX. Anyway, that's side questy.
Yes.
You had to go to Indiana to meet somebody from Utah?
Well, no, I think I do really, I believe that is where I first met you, because you were there, helping them out with their booth. I could be wrong, but anyways, again, that was a side quest. But he did not lie. It was amazing. It was fascinating. We got some great content. We got some swag as well. But what the greatest thing, again, is we came home with so much content for the show. And it wasn't lackluster content. It was great quality content. People were more than happy. Like, we were walking by and people were like, wait a minute, why do you got recording equipment? Like, they were actively asking us questions. It wasn't like we were coming up and saying, hey, would you be okay if we interviewed you? They were like, hey, why do you have equipment? And then we'd tell them who we were. Oh, well, yeah, come over. I'd love to do an interview. People were excited. Like, even the bigger names like Paizo and Fantasy Flight and stuff like that were interested. It wasn't like, yeah, we don't need you. It was like, yes, let's talk about our stuff. Whereas you go to some other conventions and conferences and it's really hard to get content and it's really hard to talk to people because they put so many walls and sometimes even paywalls and gates in front of you to be able to get that. And so this is something that I really love about Gen Con. But not only that, it's energizing. It's great to be around a bunch of other geeks and nerds that love board games and love things. Like, I think the first time we went, there was like 20 different booths that were selling just dice. Nothing else, just dice, which is amazing. And so I think we should go. How we get there? We'll figure that out.
What about you, Alton? What are some of the things that you like about Gen Con? You seem to be the most veteran of us all.
Again, I've only really been on the ops side of things. I've been on the other side of the booth.
Yeah.
And so when I've attended Gen Con, I've mostly been helping Tracy and Laura, making sure that they get to all of their panels and, gophering, making sure that if there's anything that they need, we get it done. But there is something really magical about seeing somebody light up when they're in a space where they know they are surrounded by 70,000 other people who are just as lit up as they are by what's going on. It's really cool to be in a space with that many people who know and love games and gaming and know that I am nowhere near the smartest guy in the room. It's so, so fun to be able to sit down with somebody and hear their story and hear everything that's happening. And plainly, I agree with Dan. That's one of the reasons that I think we should go next year. Now, I will say, if we're going to make that happen, Dan did mention, and as I did, Gen Con is pretty stringent about making sure that the people who get in officially have, solid credentials. And so this year, we really want to focus on making sure that we get you involved, Dungeon Crawler.
Yes.
We want to make sure that we are showing up and that we are showing not only Gen Con, but the whole world what Dungeon Crawlers Radio is capable of. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do together.
Yeah. Well, all the talk of games has reminded me of a new game I came across recently.
Hey, Dungeon Crawlers, Alton here. We all love supporting homegrown businesses from geeks like us, and we're proud to support Critical Hit Soda, the sponsors of this episode. They've been serving epic-level refreshment to the community over the last few years at conventions and local game stores, and now we want to help them level up and put amazing loot into your inventory at the same time. Go to criticalhitsoda.com or the link in the description to receive a special bonus when you pre-register and back their Kickstarter launching July 31st. Thank you for helping me and the crew at Dungeon Crawlers Radio support a business I love. Now, back to the episode.
Fair warning, dad joke incoming. It's a U2 themed board game. It's called Bonoopoly. It's like regular Monopoly, but where the streets have no name. So I played this with my sister the other day, and she asked me how many people can play it. I said, well, it supports up to 4, but you can also play it solo, meaning that I can play it with or without you. When I played it with Krebs, my brother Krebs, I rolled the dice, but then I moved my piece backwards, and he says, "You move in mysterious ways." And there was an unfortunate table flipping accident. Well, incident. It wasn't necessarily accidental. And all the game pieces were scattered. So later on, my sister caught me still searching the room to find, these lost pieces. And she says, have you recovered all the pieces yet? And I said, no, I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Oh, my gosh.
And,
now, when you bent over to look, did you get vertigo?
That was my next joke.
Oh, dang it. I'm sorry. I cut it.
But sometimes, how many people can win at this game? One. But, what's the leading cause of losing? Pride. But what does it take to win the game? Desire. And if you ask me when was the first time I played this game? New Year's Day.
Man, I can't wait to watch them listen metrics on this episode, and all of a sudden it just goes.
Are you kidding me? It's going to spike when my dad jokes hit.
Maybe there'll be like a little gap where it drops and then comes back up like 30 seconds later. We'll see. The beautiful wordplay, though.
We need to get YouTube metrics where it's like, this is the most watched or most listened to clip.
Like, oh my goodness, good job on just putting all that together. Holy cow!
Yeah, I'm definitely impressed with how quickly you moved there. That was no ordinary love.
No. Oh wow! All right.
Oh geez, Louise. Okay, everybody. But the point is, Gen Con 2025 is July 31st through August 3rd.
Yes.
I'm going to be there. If you see me, come say hello. I'm going to be hanging out with the Critical Hit Soda truck. I'm going to be wearing a red cowl and my big LED backpack, so I should be pretty easy to find. And there's a whole bunch of secrets that you can unlock if you come say hey. But if you can't make it this year, plan on coming with us next year, because Dungeon Crawlers Radio is going to hit Gen Con one way or another. Now,
yes,
if you know people on the inside, let us know. If you're somebody who just wants to come and show up and be there, let us know. And most importantly, Dungeon Crawlers, tune in, because we're excited to see what else we can bring you this year.
Hey, Daniel, why don't you throw out our email address so people can contact us?
Yeah, so it's easy to contact us at info@dungeoncrawlersradio.com. That is exactly, spell it out, exactly how it sounds. No crazy spellings there. You can also reach us on our social media pages, whether that is Facebook or Instagram. Again, same thing, just Dungeon Crawlers Radio. So we'd love to hear from you. We definitely, that is our target for next year, is to go to Gen Con once again, return with pride and excitement, and wander the floor with our amazing shirts and get some great content for you, because games is one of the things we're all about.
Truth.
So with that said, we'll catch you next time.
And Dungeon Crawlers, tell your story, whatever may come.
Always remember to let your geek flag fly, so say we all. And then all together on 3, filling in for Krebs. 1, 2, 3. always remember
to
be
epic
epic
and don't suck.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
What happens when modern magic, high-tech weaponry, and an unstoppable dragon collide? Find out in the epic audiobook of A Dragon's Fate, brought to life by Daniel and Krebs. This Whitney Award finalist novel will pull you into a pulse-pounding world where a secret cabal battles for power, and a dragon could bring everything to an explosive end. Don't just hear the story. Feel the magic, the danger, and the action. Get ready for a ride you won't forget. Grab your copy of A Dragon's Fate, now available on Audible.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you find us.